For aviation, in aviation, where did it all start for you? Like, how did you get into aviation? I wanted to know basically, it is called the Harvard of aviation. That is what I have heard of. So,
Correct.
what makes Embry-Riddle so special?
They speak in American accents, so it's quite cool what they say. They say, hey, man, are you from Riddle? And I said, yeah, every Riddle? You said, yes, Riddle. You're from Riddle, right? I said, yes, I'm from Riddle.
I was
sure.
confused between two things. Either I choose the Singapore campus or the US campus. So then coming to aviation's the financial side, like we know where the industry is headed. We know it has a great scale up that we are predicting. So for the aspiring students or the aviators, the aviation enthusiasts, you can say, which do you think is the most rewarding career in aviation? Like which department do you think is which would keep them relevant for a longer period of time? So then coming to aviation's the financial side, like we know where the industry is headed. We know it has a great scale up that we are predicting. So for the aspiring students or the aviators, the aviation enthusiasts, you can say, which do you think is the most rewarding career in aviation? Like which department do you think is which would keep them relevant for a longer period of time?
Yeah. Okay. That's very interesting because, right now, aviation leasing and finance is quite a lucrative area. So it's a place where you could earn lots of money from making a couple of good deals. You could actually make a lot of money. So we've had people in our MBA program that have graduated. For example, I taught a young student from India. His name was Ananta Krishna. He came from India, but he now settled in Singapore as a citizen, and he actually plays for the cricket team, for the national team in Singapore. So he's a good cricketer, and he loves aviation so much. So he was in my MBA class maybe about 5-6 years ago, and he's somebody who was always passionate for finance. So we said, why don't you do aviation leasing and finance as your career? So he looked into it. He joined a company. He learned a lot there, and then he actually set up his own company. And now he's actually buying and selling jets.
Wow.
So he's on LinkedIn now saying, hey, I have a jet on offer. Do you guys, are you interested? And he's really making a lot of money and doing well from his own company in leasing and finance.
Right.
So he picked up the skills at Embry-Riddle. He got some experience in the industry, and now he's got his own company, and he's really doing well. The other time he actually came to our office and said, Dr. Patel, are you ready for a coffee? I said, yeah, sure. Let's go somewhere. He said, sure. Meet me downstairs in 10 minutes. So I met him downstairs, and he was driving a beautiful blue Maserati.
Wow.
Do you believe it? I said, oh my God, you're driving a Maserati now. He said, yes. In Singapore, these are not cheap, but I managed to buy one. I thought, wow, you're doing well. Ananta, you're doing well. Well done. Yeah, so that is a lucrative part of the industry, I would say. And the demand there, but the demand is also for air traffic management. So when you're in the tower, in the radar, doing your control of the traffic, that has a lot of demand too around the world, and that's quite lucrative too.
Right.
For example, you could go get a job in Doha, in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, markets like that, and they'll pay you 3 times the wage of the domestic market just to attract you, because they need you, because their capacity is grown so much that they don't have people to fill their roles. So they will just throw money at you. They'll throw salary, housing, medical, flights, tuition for your children. They will throw everything in, and they'll say, just come, stay here for 2 years and work at our air traffic tower. So it's really a good job, great package, and something you could do for a long time. It's great. So that is a booming area too. Air traffic management, I would say, what I said about the aircraft leasing and finance. And the other one is cybersecurity. aviation cybersecurity is really taking off as well because of there's a constant cyber threat these days. It can be a threat from bad actors, it can be terrorists maybe, but securing your networks and your servers and your whole IT infrastructure for the airport and airline is paramount for everyone's safety. So because safety is paramount, the money is there. So I would say cybersecurity, airport security, aviation safety. That is where the jobs are. The demand is there.
Right. So also talking
Yeah.
about that, like the ones who don't come from a science background, like I'm sure for air traffic control positions or such positions where you need a bit of maths and physics in your background. For the students who come from a specific commerce background, how does that work for them then?
Yes. For the commerce background students, they usually go into the business of aviation. So whether that's general aviation, business aviation, or whether that's airport management, airline management, or even logistics and supply chain management. These are the areas that our business students go into. And even the retail side as well, because retail is really a big part of, for example, duty free in the airports.
Right.
You have to manage all of that, and there's a lot of market for that as well for students to enter. So I would say the commerce students will end up in the business side of things. It could be a function in the company, like for example, Singapore Airlines. They have a marketing department, an accounting and finance department. They have a HR department. They also have training and development and stuff like that. So our students would enter those departments of the aviation company
Understood.
because they already know the industry, they know the market, and now
Right.
they want to practice marketing maybe, but with an aviation firm.
Right.
Yeah.
So coming to, like, we have seen that aviation did take a backlash when COVID hit, the pandemic
Oh,
hit.
it is. Correct.
Right. So, sir, that time, the ones who've been already into aviation, like you, or the ones who are pursuing aviation, we don't know what may come ahead. So,
Correct.
it is a bit concerning for the ones like the industry can be completely shut or may not be operating. So,
Yeah,
how do you
I
stay relevant
agree.
in such situation? Like, which sector do you
Yeah.
think will still keep operating, even in aviation?
Yeah, that's an excellent question because the pandemic is a recent phenomenon that we had, and we call it a black swan event. A black swan event is something which you can't predict, but it will come now and again. It will come and hit the industry bad.
Right.
So it was a black swan event, and it was a rare event, but it's something that hit aviation hard. And for maybe 2 years, we were really suffering. I would say everybody was suffering around the world. But the government here in Singapore did a really good thing. They gave the biggest subsidies to aviation and aerospace companies because they realized that this is the lifeblood of Singapore. Singapore really relies on aviation and maritime to sustain the economy.
Right.
So we got the biggest subsidies. Every aviation company got subsidies from the government. They got everything paid for the staff, and they got investment. So this kept us afloat. And the other good thing is, aviation is very resilient. It always bounces back. So no matter if there's a pandemic, if there's a SARS epidemic or MERS epidemic, or maybe a 9/11 type terrorist situation, aviation always bounces back, and the long-term trend is always up because people want to travel, and they want to travel for business and for leisure. And even during the pandemic, there was pent-up demand. You remember the pent-up demand? It was people that were doing revenge travel because they
Right.
wanted to travel and they would go anywhere now because now that they can, because aviation has opened up. So in Singapore, we're around 99% of our 2019 level of capacity now. So the airport is handling that many passengers that we did in 2019. They're handling that today.
Right.
And cargo was a big area actually of boom during the pandemic. So passenger to freighter conversions increased and cargo traffic increased, and that really kept aviation afloat in this part of the world. Some markets bounce back faster though. For example, America bounced back faster than Asia because we were a bit more conservative with our government policies and a bit more, risk averse. So we would actually open up slowly. So Asia was slow to open up. China was slow as well, but America was very quick to open up. and that's why their recovery started earlier than Asia. So Asia is still recovering really, whereas America has fully recovered, and they've surpassed their 2019 levels already because of
So
their government policies are more liberal.
right. So I think maybe we can say in aviation, if someone looks or thinks about such security, like what may happen in a pandemic if it comes again. So I think supply chain and logistics would be a safe option for them if they think accordingly
Yes,
or want to choose the career accordingly.
correct. Yes. As I said, cargo traffic was very
Right.
resilient, and that is a good career option for students to enter. And some people we lost actually. Some people we lost for retirement, or they would switch to another industry. So, for example, we had students that were worried, and they said, "Will aviation provide for me because I'm graduating and there's a pandemic?" And we said, "Don't worry, just take a job for now. Whether it's in the finance industry or any other industry, just take it for now. You will get offered a job. Just take it, but then come back to aviation when we bounce back, because the demand will increase when we bounce back, and they will need your talent and your skills." So now they're coming back. Some people did not come back actually. They stayed in insurance or finance, but other people came back, and because this is where their passion is. They will always come back to aviation.
Right.
Yeah. So the demand increased, so the jobs increased, and then they came back.
So we are aware that aviation is really a very passion driven industry. Especially it
Correct.
is not very normal, or generally people don't pick aviation as their immediate career. Right.
That's true.
So, sir, I wanted
Yeah.
to know, you've mentored hundreds and thousands of students under you now. So, what mistake do you think? What is the most basic mistake do young professionals make while getting into aviation?
Oh, yes. Okay. A lot of the people that we come across are really young, passionate people for aviation. So, and they all want to become pilots, really, as I mentioned. So, I think that that's a mistake, is that they focus too much on one thing, but they love the industry so much. And if they can't do that one thing, they might become a bit lost or even a bit depressed. Like, why can I not become a pilot? This is not fair. I tried my best. This is my dream. So then what we do is we engage guest speakers and adjunct faculty. So people that are working in the industry, some of them are engineers, some of them are maintenance operators, some of them are air traffic managers, so some of them are airport and airline managers, and they would come in to teach lessons at every riddle. So we always engage the industry to teach. And when they teach, the students open their eyes and they realize, wow, this guy, he's doing an interesting job. And now I learned about it. I know the opportunities are there. And then the instructor could say, okay, I need 2 interns this month. Is anyone willing to come? Students will raise their hand and they will get the internship. And then they end up liking the job. They end up doing it for 2 months. They like it. And then because they're doing it so well, they get a full-time job offer at the end of their degree. So then the instructor is helping them get employed as well.
Right.
So it's quite nice in that way. So the student now will say, okay, I'll put the pilot thing on hold because I like this part of the industry. This is exciting now. Controlling the planes in the air. This is cool. I want to do this, get some experience. So they will do that. They will work in the tower for a little while. And if they want to become a pilot, they'll pursue that cadet training program later on. So they might delay it a bit because they want to experience the other parts of the industry. And that is what's so cool about it, because you could always come back, you could always move, you could always
Right.
change. Because once you're in the industry people will know you. And everyone knows everyone in aviation. It's such a small, tight-knit community, actually.
Right.
Even though we're over the globe, we tend to know everyone. Like at IATA, ICAO, Civil Aviation Authorities, we have friends everywhere. FAA, for example,
Yeah.
and they know us and we know them. And once they know your skills and passion, they might suggest a role for you. And they'll say, look, in our Canada office in Montreal, we have an opening which you will be perfect for. Would you like to explore that? And then opportunities will come to you because they will start to get to know you as well. And they know your talents.
Right.
So this is the beauty of it. So you become an international appeal already. You have that appeal from people in different organizations within the aviation industry.
Right.
So it's cool, really.
So then, sir, coming to the recruiting part, what soft skills and technical skills do you think an aviation expert or a recruiter would want in a candidate?
Oh, okay. Soft skills are so important these days. I think the communication part is very important. For example, aviation English is a very specific, unique type of English, really. And even aviation, the writing is like a technical writing that is very specific and unique to aviation. So once you have the communication skills in speaking, in writing, and in knowing the lingo, even the abbreviations, the
Yeah,
acronyms, there's so many different things. Right? Like, what does ICAO stand for? What does
right,
IATA stand for?
right.
What is RTC? What is what are these MRO? What does that mean? So once you speak the language, that's half the battle. So learn that in your first or second term, and then the other courses will start to flow naturally. And then once you picked up the communication, you could then start learning the other soft skills like employability skills, even research skills, even writing skills that you need for your essays and for your assignments. All of this is very important for your job as well. So even professional communication, we have a course called business communication. Helps you with your emails, your memos, your Zoom meetings, and presentation skills. So I think presentation skills are a very key skill these days for students to have because nowadays the internet and AI has made information available online
Right,
freely for everyone. We can all become an expert now quite easily in something because the information is there. But it's how you present that information and how you get your message across and how you appeal to the audience that really makes you stand out as a different type of candidate. Okay,
right,
because we can all have the knowledge now, we can all have that. But what stands you differently is your networking skills, your presentation skills. So we always encourage our students to network, go to careers fairs, go to the air show, go to present at the conference, go and give your paper and submit it to the place where you can present your ideas, and then do that, get known and get networking from day one, through whether it's LinkedIn first of all, but then in-person networking is very important too.
right.
So we encourage all our students to do that from day one.
Absolutely. So I think this is what is a game changer because, especially in aviation networking, I am aware that it is really, really important to grow as well because it may get your career may get very stagnant after a point.
Correct.
Like for
Correct.
years, we have seen people working at the same position and at the same level. But to
Yeah.
grow and to scale your journey, I think networking is very important. And I think it is only
Yes.
possible from industries and also like you mentioned air shows or expos, aviation expos. These are not something which is very frequently that has been happening in Asia, like India, for example.
Yeah.
There are a few, but maybe one in a year or twice in a year. They are not that frequent.
Yes. Yes, you are right, actually. And the air show in Singapore comes every 2 years. So the last one was last year, and then the next one is coming up next February. So if you are in Singapore, please come to the air show. You'll see Embry-Riddle there, obviously, but all the other aviation companies are there, and you will get to meet people and also the top people as well. They will come down to network and meet and greet as well. So this is a great opportunity for young people to really see the industry and to get noticed. And I always encourage my students to have their business cards, give their business cards, make that personal connection, and explain what you are studying, what is your major, what is your minor, what is your dissertation about, and then you might spark that that interest from the person you are talking to.
Right.
And if they're working at Airbus or somewhere, they will say, "Oh, interesting. We're getting into this thing in Airbus that we think you could assist with. Would you mind assisting us with this project?" And then you can start getting projects, start getting internships, and then you will get a full-time job eventually. And then you will start getting promotions because you start networking. You will start seeing people at different events, the same people,
Right.
and then you can start developing the relationship with them, and then you can start knowing about what their problems are and how you can help to solve their problems. And they really like to have problem solvers. So if you can identify how you can help them solve their problem that they have for the industry, they will definitely work with you. And you will start getting invitations to events after that. So you will You won't even need to ask anymore. They will invite you.
Right.
For example, like me, I get invited for things now, which is amazing. So yesterday I was at the U.S. Embassy's house, the ambassador to Singapore, and he said, "Hey guys, I've got an appreciation event to thank all the American companies. We'd like you to be present, in my home, and we'll have a party and stuff." And then so I went there yesterday, and it was amazing. I went there with my boss. We were both together, and then we met so many good people in the industry, and some people you met at previous events. And he said, "Hey Jack, I remember you from the Formula One, in Singapore last year. You were there with this American company, right?" I said, "Yes, I was. I was invited by our industry advisory board. They brought me to that Formula One, and that's where I met you. And now we can continue the conversation here." So then you end up becoming friends. And then when there's an event, they will let you know. And when there's an event, you will let them know because you want them to be part of it too.
Right.
So the connection grows, the relationship grows, and then opportunities will come from there. So, for example, I was approached by the Civil Aviation Authority of Singapore because they know Embry-Riddle, they know us, and they asked me to teach some training programs for them. And they would invite people from all over the world, from the civil aviation authorities from their countries, to train in Singapore, and I would deliver them training 3 times a year, which is amazing. So now I'm meeting people from all over the world now, from places like Africa, from Europe, from Seychelles, from Maldives, from different countries that I would never ever go to really or see people from. But now I'm meeting them all in one room, and I'm training them, I'm teaching them. So now they know me. So when they go back to their country and then they have a specific need or training or something that they need, they'll just call me and say, "Hey Jack, could you come to Uganda, maybe deliver this for our staff because they lack this certain skill that you could help with?" You say, "Sure, I will do it. You're a friend of mine. We will definitely help you." So it's quite nice. You get opportunities coming to you afterwards, which is a
Absolutely.
great place to be. And you can help people develop their own aviation industries in their country because their countries might not be so developed, but you're helping them
Right.
develop, which is quite nice.
So
Yeah.
then coming to a specific aviation field or something, like basically how students, like once they have pursued aviation, they're going ahead with their education. Everyone wants a little bit of future proofing. Like we
Yes.
know engineers have a particular route to go ahead with, even if their own business doesn't work out.
Yes.
Like in aviation, we know we'll always have jobs, but
Yes.
to stay
Yes.
relevant, there has to be something different. There
Of
has to
course.
You have to come continuously upgrade your knowledge, get updated with
Yes.
the now AI coming into the picture. Even that brings a lot of questions to the young aspirants, that
Yes.
my job may get replaced by AI, because we've
Correct.
seen such things happening before.
I think so. Yes,
Right.
you're absolutely right. With staying relevant is so important for all of us because you could get your paper qualification, but that's just you doing a degree at a university. It's just a paper, right? Really. But how do you stay relevant in the industry when you are there? And so what we do at Everriddle, we offer professional education and training programs. So we are upskilling the people that are working. So imagine you are a middle manager at maybe Boeing or Airbus or Changi Airport, but you want to upskill in a certain area in aviation, such as aviation cybersecurity. You want to keep your skills relevant in that area because you know that that's a growth area and you want to get into that. So we offer short courses which could last 3 to 5 days, taught by our expert faculty, which gives you a certificate in this, which is a stackable certificate. So you could stack them up, and then you could do cybersecurity, you could do leasing and finance, you could do aviation economics, you can do MRO maybe, supply chain logistics management, and you can stack those up, and you can get a mini MBA,
Right.
which is a relevant MBA because it's all current things that are going on and future trends that are going on. You will learn about that in your short courses. So it cuts down the cost, cuts down the time, and it helps you progress and get promoted in your role. So from middle manager, you could then join the leadership team,
Right.
which is quite amazing. So it's a big jump really from just upskilling through these professional education training programs, which is not part of the degree program, but it's separate. It's for professionals that are working.
Right.
So
So
we
I think
offer that.
I'm also aware of that Embry-Riddle, the masters they provide. It's a 1 year master. So I think that also
Yes,
saves a lot of time.
it does. We offer a 1 year master's course in aeronautics and one in the MBA in aviation. So it's a specific MBA, but all the case studies and examples are from aviation. And we also offer a Master of Science in Aerospace and Aviation Sustainability, which is a growth area now, with sustainable aviation
Right.
fuels and all the other things that you've heard about in the news as well.
Mm-hmm.
So all of that is actually keeping us relevant, and it could all be done in 1 year. And so it cuts down the time, cuts down the cost. You don't have to be in Singapore for that long because
Mm-hmm.
we know Singapore is quite an expensive country as
It
well.
is.
So it cuts down your time, cuts down your cost, but it gets you that education that's internationally recognized. And as part of that education, we even offer stackable certificates with IATA. For example, so if you want to do IATA, airline management courses, or revenue generation courses, maybe,
Mm-hmm.
or crew resource management with IATA, you could get that as part of your MBA. So it's actually part of it, which is amazing. So you could put it into your CV as you got an MBA in aviation, plus you got the IATA certificate for airline management. So
Right.
that looks really good. That will set you apart, really.
Absolutely.
And all of that could take a year or maybe a year and a half max.
Right.
Yeah, it's
So
great.
then coming to the final segment, sir,
For
what
sure.
what do you think? What one piece of advice you would give to the new aspirants of aviation who dream of making it big in aviation? What one advice do you
Yes.
think that if they consider would surely help them ahead?
Okay, I would say stay hungry and always network. Always network, stay hungry. So what that means is be hungry as in you're first for knowledge, you're first for innovating as well. So always keep that in your mind. Always look at the industry critically and think, what can I add to the industry to improve it?
Right.
What can I do to move it to the next level? What can I do that the industry doesn't have at the moment? What can I do to help it? That is one thing to do. Stay hungry. And the second thing was network, because you never know where your next opportunity will come. For example, let me give you a good example of that, right? And I was teaching a course. It was called Aviation Applied Economics.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what we do, we take economic concepts and we apply it to aviation. And it was a short course delivered over 20 hours, teaching students based in around the region, like in Pakistan and Middle East and so on. But then there was one student who signed in from San Francisco, America. And this guy, I realized he was the youngest guy there. He was only
Mm-hmm.
16 years old, right?
Wow.
And I said, wow, you're joining a course for professionals. Are you sure you can handle this? He
Mm-hmm.
said, yeah, sure, I'll give it my go. I'll try because I love aviation so much.
Mm-hmm.
My uncle's a pilot. I fly Delta all the time. I live next to San Francisco Airport. I
Mm-hmm.
love aviation. Trust me, I'll be okay. So
Mm-hmm.
I started teaching him, and I noticed that he was one of the strongest students in the classroom, full of professionals. And I said, okay, this guy is actually good.
Mm-hmm.
We need to do something about you. So he said, sir, I want to come to Singapore and be in your class and meet your people in the campus. Can I come? I said, sure, just fly over. You're in San Francisco, just take the flight to Singapore and come with your father, and then you could see the campus, meet all of us. So he came over, he met us, he met the chancellor as well, the president. Everyone was here, and he sat in my classes and he loved it, right? He really enjoyed it. He learned a lot, and he was contributing well. And I said, so what is your next stage? What do you want to do? He said, I want to get out of high school, then I want to get an internship at an airport. I want to join the business side of airports. I said,
Mm-hmm.
okay, cool. He said, can you help me? I said, of course I can help you. Because our previous dean of our quality of business, he is now running the airport in America, the international airport in Nashville,
Wow.
National Metropolitan Airport. He's running that. He's actually the main guy. Let me reach out to him and I'll give you an internship in that airport when you are done with your high school. So
Mm-hmm.
when are you done? He said, I'm done in May this year. I said, okay, in May, June, you can start at the airport. I will email you, will connect you with the guy. He's really
Mm-hmm.
cool. So I connected him with the guy, and the airport CEO reached out and said, yeah, we'd love to take you on. You'll be here for like a few days. You shadow me, learn the different departments of the airport here, and then you could learn about it and have that as part of your experience and put it in your CV. And he said, "Well, this is great." So we connected him. He will do that in May now.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's asking, what else can I do? Can I come to Singapore and maybe shadow a company there like Pratt and Whitney or Bombardier, which is on your doorstep? I said, in Singapore, you need a visa, to really intern or work. So unfortunately, that might not be possible. But you could always come here and do an exposure program like a summer school. So we're holding a summer school now where you could learn lectures in the morning and do industry excursions and tours during the afternoon, and in the evening you could explore the Singapore tourist attractions. So it's like a 5-day program of summer school
Mm-hmm.
where you could learn in the morning with our professors. In the afternoon, you could do the visits to the companies and the aviation airports, airlines, and stuff like that, MRO. And then in the evening is your own free time to enjoy. Imagine a whole week of that during your summer in Singapore. It's a great taste of campus life and Singapore life. And we are opening that to all high school students to come in. So we got a group from Taiwan coming in. We had a group from Philippines that came in. And now we even open it to this American student who wants to come.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like we can have more of this happening now because we have our own campus and we
Right.
have connections with the companies. We can actually make it happen. So think of it as a week immersion program.
Great.
So yeah, so even you could even if you want to join, you could even join something like that as well.
Yeah, that'll be great, sir.
Yeah,
That will be a great help. So
excellent.
I think, sir, we are good. I had a really good conversation with you. Really, really very insightful. I
Yeah,
hope
same. Me
this
too.
does help the aspirants or who look out for getting into or making it big in aviation. I hope this surely helps them.
Of course, yes. We'd like to help everyone. Really, if they're considering entering the aviation industry, this is a great time to do it. Aviation is bouncing back from the pandemic, as we've said, and also the opportunities are in Asia. Really, there's so much growth in this area. Out of the world global growth in aviation, about 30 or 40% will come in Asia. So imagine how big that market is. Really.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so this is the place to be, Ariane, to study and to work, I would say, and hopefully one day to live as well. If you do get a role out here, a job, I would really consider that
Surely,
seriously.
sir. Looking forward to
Yeah,
see you really soon.
thank you very much. You too, Ariane. And you know what? A quick story. I just met a Sri Lankan student today that I taught on the
Mm-hmm.
MBA program. Maybe 5 years ago, he graduated. Mr. Molana, his name is, and he came in. He reached out on LinkedIn to me last week, and he said, "Hey, sir, can I pop by the campus and see you guys at the new place?" I said, "Sure, sure. We remember you. Just come by."
Mm-hmm.
So he came today to see us. He met our students. I showed him around the campus. He met some of the teachers and the admin faculty, the staff, and everyone. And he said, "Wow, this place is amazing. If he had this when he was a student, he would be completely happy." So I asked him, "What are you doing now?" He said, "He's now in Singapore on an employment pass. So he's working in Singapore. So he's a Sri Lankan passport holder working in Singapore, and eventually he'll apply for his permanent residency."
Okay.
So imagine he could make a life now in Singapore because he started the MBA with us
Right.
5 years ago. Yeah, so we brought him in from Sri Lanka and he just loves Singapore. He wants to stay now. So he's got his job now. He's consulting in the industry with drones and UAVs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's another growth area that I forgot to mention: drones and UAVs and urban air mobility. So all of that is what he's doing. He's consulting in that now. So he's doing his drone pilot license, which we offer at the university, and he's hopefully going to stay and build a career here in Singapore now
Great.
because of how he started 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Sri Lankan student coming to Singapore for the first time. It's quite daunting, but he took the risk and he did it, and that is what matters really.
Right.
Yeah, so that can be you one day, Ariane.
Absolutely.
Like imagine, right? Like you're taking the plunge, obviously, going to a new country. You're gonna network and make friends and all of that from scratch. But once you do it, you feel so happy and proud of what you've achieved, really, and your parents will be very proud of you as well
Absolutely.
to actually make it in Singapore as well. Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
amazing.
Okay, then
Sure.
thank
Thanks
you
a
so
lot,
much.
Arian.
Thank you so much for your time, sir. Really, it was
Thank
my
you.
honor hosting you today.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Ariane. My pleasure.
Thank you so much, sir. See
Thank
you
you.
then.
All right. Thank you, Ariane. Take care.
Yeah, take care, sir. Bye
Okay,
bye.
see you soon. Thank you. Bye now.
Bye bye.